Hello, we're back here on the Rapid Regeneration Program with one of our favorite guests from this program, Mr. Ron Raben. You may recognize Ron from an episode that we did on the podcast where Ron shared some of his amazing discoveries um, that he's learned in his 91 years here on planet Earth in this lifetime. And um, Ron is an author and um, an amazing friend, and I've learned so much from him and from his book. And we just had more to talk about. And so I just wanted to have Ron back on to talk about his latest work and just what's going on. So, Ron, just thank you for coming back on.
My pleasure. Thank you, dear friend.
So, I think we want to talk about some of the keys or some of the discoveries that have really helped Ron turn his life around, going from being in a very unhappy place to finding happiness and inner peace and purpose. But before we do that, Ron, um, can you explain to the audience that you're not selling anything, you're not pitching anything, you're basically just sharing your wisdom because you want to help people. Can you explain that?
I want to make friends and help friends and just share what the happiness that I've found with anybody that willing to wants to be happy. And that will make me happier. And no money and uh no strings of any kind, just answering questions and showing love to one another and friendship. That's all.
Wow. Well, one of the things that yes, and I will say Ron has helped me. Ron and I had an interesting story of how our lives crossed paths, I think 4 years ago, and but we've been friends ever since, even though we've never actually met, but we communicate over the phone.
Just every week for 4 years.
So Ron is a special guy, and I do believe that he entered my life for a reason. And I think you had people like that in your life as well. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about was about your latest booklet, which is it's a very short collection of information that Ron has written that of things that have helped Ron and and tools and things you can use. And I want to ask you about that. But one of the things, Ron, it seems like I'm noticing this theme in your life because you talk about the early years of your life, the middle years, and the later years, and some of the transformations you went through. But one of the things I notice is that you're always learning throughout your whole life. You're always open and learning and growing. Um, is that is that normal? Is that unusual? Because I mean, you're 91. I mean, by the time you see people get into middle age or even just adulthood, a lot of people become very rigid and closed off. Has that been a theme of your life?
Yeah, it's all connected with the original story and the original theme, reprogramming my computer brain to think that way, from negativity to being positive. And anything that I want, I just plant the affirmation in there and try to reprogram it. And the more you do it, the more it gets reprogrammed. Simple.
So that's the thing you're talking about, which is this free technique that people use, which is
Yeah,
using affirmations to reprogram their computer brain.
that's correct. Yes. You're not begging, you're not praying, although there's nothing wrong with prayer, but you're affirming that your higher spirit will go to your computer brain that was created by our great creator, and we will give you the message that you're looking for. We'll reprogram that computer.
Wow. Is this is this related to, so when you talk about the computer brain, is this related to genetics? Because in your book you talk about, or in this book we're talking about, you talk about um, DNA from your ancestors. Is that part of the computer brain?
Yes, well, as I just learned recently, the brain, they say, controls 7 trillion cells in your body. When you are born with that brain, you are born with a program in it in your mother's stomach. And when you come out, and as you start to uh, put things together, your brain develops it and it's all filed away in there. You develop more DNA from how people bring you up, your parents, relatives, things like that. And then the rest of your life, you're stuck with that DNA unless you know how to change it or willing to try. And it's easy and it can be done. And
Hmm.
we don't ask for that DNA. It comes with the body and it also comes with our bringing up. And people that beat their kids have a pretty rough DNA, those kids growing up from that, you know? And
Okay.
okay.
Wow. So what was that like for you before you started to reprogram your computer brain? What was it like? Were you unhappy and
Depressed, unhappy, trying to drink my problems away, worrying all the time, worrying about things that would never happen, and getting sick about it and upset. And it's not a comfortable life. I accomplished a lot. I did a lot of creative things, but I still suffered down below. Since then, 55 years ago, I have been a different person and a whole different ball game. And I'm the same person I was creatively, but I am now happy. And I got rid of that pain. No more drinks, no more suffering, no more mental anguish. Here I am.
um
I can make friends with as many people as I can and pass on to any one of them who wants to take it. And I told David that I would like to put my email number up, and I would love anybody who wants to contact me and ask me any question that they want. I'd be happy to try to answer them, give them examples of what I'm doing, and if not, I'm just hope that it all works out well.
yes, that's right. Ron will personally communicate with you and share information with you. We're gonna include Ron's contact information as well as the pages of this very short um, work. I'm calling it a booklet. It's a free ebook, and basically, it's going to be available. We're going to put it on the same page with Ron's email. What about your phone number, Ron? Are we giving out your phone number too, or?
I could do that. I think it would be in the beginning. If anybody wants my phone number, they can ask me on the email, and
Okay,
I'll
yes,
decide personally with them.
let's do that. And so all of that information is going to be found at rapidregeneration.com/Ron. That's /RON. Ron has a dedicated landing page on the Rapid Regeneration website because we love Ron. I mean, Ron's information works. I will personally attest to the power of affirmations. Um, I've said this before, but affirmations, they work so well that they made me lazy. They made me stop doing them because so much of my life was starting to resemble what was in my affirmations. And then I just got lazy, right? And then, you and I have talked through the years, and let me say this, Ron. I started doing affirmations again. This must have been like 10 months ago or so, a little bit less than a year ago. And I can just see how uh like pieces of a puzzle, my life is starting to construct itself and is starting to magnetize, go towards these affirmations. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that no hard work is required. It's you still have the law of action plus the law of attraction. You still have to take action, and you still have to put in the work, but it's like showing you what to do. It's showing you what direction you should go. Would you agree with that,
I
Ron?
I actually think it's pre-programming that computer brain. You don't have to work at it at all. It will take over and do what you program it to do. And if you program it positively, it will wipe out all the negativity that was reprogrammed that you were born with, that you were given. So that I feel that way about it. Absolutely.
Now, when you say you don't have to work at all, but when I read your book and everything, you did you did work hard. Like you were a chef, you were a famous chef or
I
a
don't mean
chef.
that.
But
I don't mean work hard that way. I meant at the affirmations. The
oh, okay.
affirmations is just you're feeding it information every night. If you repeat it enough times, it will reprogram that computer, and the computer will follow everything you're asking it to do.
Okay. Okay.
Get rid of the pain, negativity, all of that.
You know what? I agree with what Ron is saying that saying the affirmations gets easier and easier. In fact, I've said mine so many times now that I can say them without even thinking about what I'm saying. They just like roll out. And I like to do them when I'm driving or maybe doing the dishes or cleaning the kitchen. You can do them. For me, it takes maybe 5 minutes. Uh, that's the easy version, or you could do as many as you want, as Ron will tell you.
Right. I started off with half an hour, 10 minutes, and I went up to an hour and a half for almost 40 years. And I will say them. For me, it was good to go to bed at night before I went to sleep and say them. But anytime and in your own words, it doesn't matter how you say it, as long as it's honest and loving and caring, and you believe in it and you want to reprogram, you can do it.
And Ron, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but Ron likes to say the affirmations in the bathtub. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I love to save in the bathtub because I'm captured there for an hour and a half, and I'm not saying them. I'm getting a wonderful, soothing bath.
Um, so is there a specific technique when you say affirmations, it's kind of like saying meditation. There's so many different types out there. Is there a specific technique that is the most
I
effective?
think that when they read this paper, Lessons Learned, I think I explained it in there.
Yes.
But for anybody that wants to know more or know exactly how I do something or feel about something, I would love them to call me personally, and I'd be happy to share with them or try to answer any questions they have. And also, as I say in my opening statement in my book, the friendship of human beings is very important to me. The friendship of knowing that I can help people the way people have helped me.
Wow. Wow. So, and yes, Ron is correct. We will link at the link rapidregeneration.com/Ron. It is going to have the whole booklet and it has actually the structure of how you should say the affirmation. Um, so just click the link below. You can find that. Ron, can you give us a taste of how the affirmation goes? What should you say it in future tense, past tense, present tense, and how should you kind of structure it?
Well, I don't want, as I was told in the beginning, you do not have to believe in God to do this. But for some reason, I was told you must say two things before you start in a certain way. And I printed those in the book. And when you say those, then all you do is say what comes into your mind, whatever way you want. You can repeat it, you can make mistakes. It doesn't matter as long as the thought and the thing you want to accomplish is true and loving and good and not evil. And your brain will eventually pick it up. For some people, quite fast, others a little longer. But you'll reprogram it to exactly what you're asking it to do. And it will all come. And there's one part in there, the greatest affirmation I made, which I would like people to read in this, I think it's in this paper, is I asked for a reflection of my soul one night 37 years ago, and 2 days I added that after saying affirmations for 22 years and everything happening. I decided I want to add one that says, I want a reflection of my soul. The next day, it happened, and I've been happily married to that woman for 36 of the happiest years of my life. And she was not the answer for just an affirmation, it was an affirmation from a higher power that took care of it all.
Wow. 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 That's your amazing wife, of course. Um,
Absolutely, Joyce.
um,
94, and I learn from her every day, and we have had the greatest 36 years any two friends and married people and loved ones can have. The greatest affirmation answered the quickest, one day.
Wow. Wow.
And in
Wow.
my book, is written how it happened. And it's very interesting how it happened in that day. But anyway,
So that's the power of what we're talking about. Ron was basically drifting more or less unhappy until his 40s, until he was in his 40s, and then discovered this technology that we're talking about, which is this free technique of affirmations. Started doing it. You can read his whole life memoir and story in his book called "How Long Does Tomorrow Last?" Or you can also check out this short booklet or the short paper, which describes
this
it.
is more about the affirmations, the short lessons learned. That's the one I think people should really pay attention to. I don't want to sell any books. I want to give information away.
Yes, lessons learned. This is a free paper. It's going to be published at the link below. You know, how would you describe this time that we're in on planet Earth? Because you look around and there's all these massive changes happening, and it's really an incredible time that we're in. But how would you describe this time that we're in on planet Earth, and where do you see things going?
Well, as I've said before, we could have been created as puppets to be perfect. We're not, whatever the reason for that, there are reasons. I believe you are given the free choice to live a positive life or a negative life. If you live a positive life, I believe that you go on in eternity or wherever and keep improving. If you don't, you might get left back and have to do the same thing over again. I don't know, it's just my belief. But the point is,
Hmm.
I'm losing my thought train for a moment there.
Yeah,
Uh,
but we have free choice. We do have free choice, and we're not puppets.
and I do believe that if you make the right choices, you spread out good. And the more people that do that, the less wars, the less fighting, the less hatred, and forgiveness is very important. And if people can start to do that, even if they don't believe it, program their brain to believe it. Program their brain so that that's their choice. It will happen and it will spread. And I believe that we will maybe get back to the Garden of Eden type of life again. It's possible. I don't know if you want to put this in there, but it's just a thought that came to my mind. But I do believe if enough people think, don't have to be a majority, but the electronic power, like Google, is so powerful that it will create things and have them done. It will accomplish things. And if enough people show love rather than dishonesty and hatred and hurting somebody, they show forgiveness, it will change our future. And our children and grandchildren will have a much better and happier world. Even though it's been one of the greatest there is, it could have gone down, it could go down, but I think it's going to go up. And the more we come spiritual and talk to our creator and affirm, the better chance that it'll have to happen.
Wow, wow, amazing, amazing. I think the big takeaway is these affirmations is it's a technology, it's a technique that really it just works. And so if you're not using it, then you're really you're running with weights on. You know, you're making it harder for yourself to reach your goals than it needs to be. I just was reminded of one other question, Ron, which is how do you know what to affirm for? How do you know what goal should you even have? What if you're not sure? Does it just come to you or what?
No, I pretend it's the computer and it will follow whatever I program it to do. So I make up my own mind of different things I want to try out on it. And I started with picturing all my body parts and saying that they will all be healthy. Or as I got older, they won't be so pain, there'll be very little pain and no cancers. And I program my brain to control my body parts that way, and it's worked. What can I tell you? At 92, everything I asked for has happened. And
So
I'm going to get old. I'm not going to be healthy at this age, but everything that I asked for, no serious diseases. I am walking and jogging and
Ron,
happy.
Ron is jogging around the neighborhood of Central Florida at 91 years old. He's not kidding.
I was in a wheelchair last year because I forgot to say my affirmations, and you were the one that reminded me. And the day after I did it, I got up and I started jogging.
So this is amazing. We're gonna link to this information. It's called Lessons Learned. It's a free paper that goes over the technique, how to use it. It's amazing. I use it myself. You can reach out to Ron if you have questions. Um, Ron Raben, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the listener to help them on
I'd
their
like to say something to you, David. I would appreciate it very much if you would read when you do this, the introduction to the book. I want them to hear it from your soul and your mouth, and it might open a window for them. And
Okay, the
okay,
introduction. Well,
you can do it.
let's open it right now. Let's open it right now.
I got it in front of me.
Um,
Please do that.
you want me to read it or you want you to read
Oh,
it?
I'd love you to read it, please.
Okay. Okay, so this is from the introduction of Ron's paper, which is called Lessons Learned, which has all these techniques in it, and we're going to link to it. Okay, introduction by Ron Raben. I would like to say to the readers that in no way am I a person who's trying to lead anybody. What I'm trying to do so hard is share some wealth that I've found and want to give it to anybody who can use it. It's a loving act, and I would be so honored to have the friendship of those who are happy with my gestures. I'm so grateful to ordinary people like myself who shared with me some of their successful knowledge about life and living and finding contentment and happiness. I want as many friends as I can have. I also want very much to be liked by my fellow men and women and to accomplish many positive things that I was given by other strangers who became friends and loved ones to me. What a great way to leave. And truly, so that's Ron's introduction of his paper, Lessons Learned. And this really is Ron's legacy. And whenever that time it is for Ron, for you to go into the next realm, you will live onwards through this information. And there was amazing people that helped you, and I feel like you're just paying it forwards and helping us and helping the listener.
And that's not what I meant when I said I'm so happy to have had this before I leave. And I meant leaving to the next realm, which you just mentioned. What a way to go with such a happy, positive mind and knowing, believing in my heart that it will all happen and it's happening the way it's happened.
Wow, incredible, incredible. Uh, any last parting advice, Ron, for someone who is just learning about affirmations, curious about it, and or maybe they've started to do it, but any advice to that person to be
Yeah,
successful?
if they're interested at all, it's all in what I've written down. I don't have to go through saying it. I don't have to uh, try to convince anybody. It's all there. And if you want to, you try it. And it takes 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. And give it a chance, and you may be shocked at what will happen. Because 98% of it came true and is coming true every day. At
Wow.
92, I I forgot to say my affirmations. You reminded me, and I got up, and I'm back to where I was again, jogging and no wheelchair and cooking every day for my wife and myself and writing and having a ball. Just one. And I owe it all to affirmations and my higher power.
So amazing. Well, we're going to link to the book. So just click the link and you can find the book or the booklet. It's called Lessons Learned. It's a free paper. And also, you can find Ron's contact information.
And I will answer any questions that you have from reading the story and anything that's on your mind. And I'll be happy to tell you the way I feel about it.
So we just want to say thank you, Ron, for coming back and for doing your work and sharing all the things that you've learned and are still learning all the time. Thank you.
And I thank God for a friend like you who is just wanted to help me share this with the world, and you share it because you are a reflection. I'm a reflection of you, as far as I can see.
Wow. Okay, there goes Ron Raben. Thank you so much, Ron.
Namaste.